Nelson, New Zealand's second oldest city. It has always attracted many people to come and visit here because of its wonderful sunshine and its endless possibilities. From the first German ship that came out here in 1843 to the Italians that settled on D'Urville Island about 20 or 30 kilometres from this point right here, to my family that came here in the 1920s. New migrants are still coming here to Nelson, and in recent years we've had a 25% increase in Asians here in Nelson, and right now we have 27% of our population was actually born outside of New Zealand. So in this episode of Neighbourhood, I'd like to introduce you to some of the people in my hometown that make it a wonderful, colourful, culturally diverse place. We'll savour the taste of an Iranian home-cooked meal.
In Iran, cooking meals is like a family occasion. People get together, help each other, they cook almost half day.
See traditional Kayan weaving.
And I'm here.
Listen to the ways a local Chinese woman is working to combat racism.
It's not just a reporting system. It's also an educational system to encourage people to say no to racism.
And discover a treasured diary that links a young woman of Greek heritage back 4 generations.
It's breathtaking, really, because you know what's happened and everything that's gone on during this time with the book and what's in the book and all the memories, so it's really amazing.
I'm Aldo Miccio, and this is my neighbourhood. When I grew up here, the entire Grove Street was populated by Italian immigrants, and even some of the surrounding streets, all growing tomatoes. We used to get together to do the planting together, do the bottling of tomatoes for tomato sauce, and even help out picking tomatoes and pulling tomatoes down. There was a real sense of community. It was a real village lifestyle. Back in the 1920s, my grandfather came out here and started growing tomatoes here, and all those street signs are all names of people that were growing tomatoes here, those Italian families. And some of those Italian families are still here in the same houses, living on those same streets. Locally, 3 generations of Kayan women from Myanmar get together to ensure that their traditions from their homeland remain intact.
I come from Myanmar, originally come from Burma, but I live in Thailand refugee camp for the whole of my life. My parents call me Mulo, and my real name is December, actually, but people call me Zember. Mostly people know Kayan by people who wearing the ring on their neck. You know, like some people, when we live in Thailand refugee camp, they call us like Kayan long neck. We live in the village, and then they ask the tourists to come, and they ask money from the tourists. And people come and take photo of us, ask questions, and, you know, filming us every day. And then one day that I heard from tourists talk to me, and they said that why we are the same human and we want to talk, we want to see each other, and we have to pay money. So kind of humanism, like that. And since that day, I feel sad because I wearing the ring is not for tourists, not for beauty, not for people, you know. I want to keep my own traditional. One day I decided to take it off because I am the first person that decided to take it off. My mom agreed with me one day. And then in 2005, we heard UNHCR came to our camp and announced like you're allowed to apply for third country, something like that. And so we came to New Zealand in 2008, yeah, on August. The young people, almost all people are uneducated. They never go to school. So women weaving clothes, you know, for their own family, for their families. That's why every woman have to learn. When you was young, you need to learn how to weave. This is my mom, and my mom doing the weaving for the first step. Like this is the loom, and then she wind the thread around this thing. She made a scarf, and the first step, and then after that, the second step that my sister doing there.
Cái lúc cái phụ trà phụ này đôi khi mà chỉ chẳng lột ghê đâu mà bởi chứ mà mày cái làm sậu dạo cái làm quang dạo bảo cái tăng cầu mày lột ghê chứ lên đoạn và bạn lần tao mười ta bà chùi tao câu mà tao rồi con lần lá mười không á mà tao lần này mình được bị này chơi được bư bà quang ý lần này.
This is my sister, Muban. She is weaving a scarf. In Burma, and they thought that if you can't weave, you can't cook, so you are not really kind of responsible for women or household, something like that. First thing important is thread, and then the loom, all this thing is made from wood, yeah. Since we've been to New Zealand here, we only weave scarf because we couldn't get a big loom to wear for shirt or something like that. So we weave in scarf and we sell to the shooter gallery, and yeah, and then we get some money from there. Just tiny of income, because you know we're not sort of weaving every day, you know, just weekend or once a week like that.
It seemed like such a wonderful project. And then when I saw the scarves, how beautifully they're woven, and it's been a really successful relationship. The scarves work well in the shop. People love them. They love to hear the story behind them.
Since I've been to New Zealand, no, I prefer without the ring, you know, more freedom and more convenient, you know, and I get used to without the ring now, so yeah. But my mom still wearing it.
This is the trunk that my grandfather brought out from Italy when he came out here in 1920. His name was Cataldo Romano, and when he got here they changed his name to Jim because it was too hard to pronounce, and I'm named after him, so my name Aldo comes from Cataldo. It must have been extremely nerve-wracking for him at the age of 15, leaving home, his father, his mother, his brothers and sisters, and setting off for the new world. Not really sure where New Zealand was or what New Zealand was about, and arriving here in Nelson to start a new life. there's a young lady that also has a treasure that connects her to her Greek great-grandfather, his diary.
Both sides of my grandparents were from Greece, so my heritage is Greek. If someone were to ask me what my nationality was, I would probably say I'm Greek. I'm Greek, of Greek origins, but I was born in South Africa and raised in New Zealand. My full name is Elena Aneta Louverdis, and I was born in a small town in South Africa called Randburg. And my parents moved here when I was 6 months old, so we've been here about 15 years. I've been to Greece twice. Once when I was about 3 years old, so I don't actually remember that. And in 2008, my father and my mother took me to Greece for 3 months in the year. And so I went to school there, and when I came back, my Greek speaking was much better. So going to Greece it's really cool. It almost feels as though I've got a really huge connection when I go to Greece. It almost feels like I'm at home. Even though I can't speak the language that well, it's amazing to hear it around me. My mother taught me to speak Greek. That was my first language. So speaking Greek is a big part of it. Also like cultural things that we just do throughout the year, like Easter celebrations and just, you know, things we have around the house. The item we have that's a family treasure is a notebook or a diary that my great-grandfather wrote during the time of the war, and it has like poems and just sentimental writings that he's done in there. It's about 90 to 100 years old. It's a very old book. Mainly just poems or just accounts of, you know, what's been happening at the time. His handwriting is the equivalent of cursive in English, so it's cursive Greek. So for me, even my mother finds it really hard to read the writing, but it's really cool to see the writing because, you know, that he wrote it almost 90 years ago. So that's pretty cool. It's breathtaking, really, because you know what's happened and everything that's gone on during this time with the book and what's in the book and all the memories, so it's really amazing. I'm looking for the poem, my favorite poem, which is the forest poem in this book. There we go. This one. Δάσος. Περπατώ μέσα στο δάσος. Τα πουλάκια κελαιδούνε, τα τραγούδια αρχίζουν. I walk in the forest. All around me the birds start singing and sweeten my heart. It's morning and the whole of nature, soon as daybreak, sends a thanks to our common Father. I see that man only is ungrateful to the creation. Even though a logical being, he does not thank the Creator. That should be an example. Although his has his logic, he tries to use it, but it only leads to his destruction. What I've read in the book, I could say that my great-grandfather was a very sentimental man. He's kind and caring. My dad said he was really generous. He's an amazingly generous man. Yeah. Something that I take from the writing is that even though it may be really, really hard to do something, if it's going to be better for more people than just yourself, you've got to do it. You've got to do it. Like he immigrated from Greece to South Africa for a better life for his future family. He didn't even have one yet. If I could meet him, I would say how grateful I am for all the things he did, like move from Greece to South Africa, because that meant my parents could move from South Africa to New Zealand, and I'm really grateful for that.
Nelson's Club Italia was established in 1931 as a place for the local Italians here to experience their culture and have activities together. I remember as a child we used to get together for Christmas party and also New Year's Eve activities. And some photos behind us here show myself in them and also the different generations of Italians over the years. World War II was a difficult time for local Italians. Some of them actually were declared enemies of the state and were sent to an internment camp in Wellington. But of course also there was many Italians that served alongside the Allies in World War II. A Nelson woman understands how difficult it can be to suffer racial abuse because of your ethnicity, and she has made it her mission to do something about it.
My name is Li Miaolin. I'm from China originally, and I'm known as Lilian Miaolin Li Krotovich now. I first came to New Zealand in 2003, 10 years ago. I came as an international student. In the year in Auckland, I was quite happy with all the different communities mingle around and mix around together. And when I came down to Nelson, it was quite different. It's quite hard for me to say I love Nelson. And I have been trying to leave Nelson because there's a new migrant, especially Asian new migrant. It's not really easy to live in Nelson. There are people with narrow minds. When I'm walking on the main streets in Nelson City, I had few experiences having people yelling at me, or when I'm trying to cross the road and they're supposed to stop and wait, they didn't, and yelling by speeding up and yelling at me, blah blah back to blah blah, things like that. I already lost count how many times it happened. The first step was shock and fear, and then after a few times it happened, it's angry. And sometimes I even feeling like embarrassed because I was not too sure if it's really something wrong with me or it's their problem. So that took a long time for me to re-establish the confidence back, knowing that it wasn't me. I saw this job advertisement, and so I thought, I probably could contribute something to make this place more welcoming and more easier for new migrants. Hello. Hi. I'm currently working as the coordinator for Speak Out Nelson Tasman, which is the only regional reporting system for any racist incidents happening in Nelson Tasman region. Everyone who lives, works, or visits this region has the equal rights who not be treated with any discrimination. We had few successful cases. Some of them led to successful prosecution by the police. But I don't call that a success because we don't want that thing happen at all.
Very nice. That's good.
Want to drink something? We have tea here.
Yeah, I'll have a bit of tea.
I think the underlying, or say the root of racism is not exposed to enough differences. And nowadays, in the world, it's globalization, isn't it? So opening up minds is the first step to eliminate racism.
The kitchen is the heart of any Italian home. It's the domain of the nonna or non, and in my case, the dad. Dad was a head chef at the Bristol Hotel in Italy, and what he's making right now is a traditional southern Italian dish called cannelloni, made of pork, beef, mozzarella, and sometimes some secret ingredients, isn't it, Dad? Yep. My job when I was a kid, especially around Christmas time when we used to have to make a couple of hundred of these, was to roll the cannelloni. So it was when it's rolled out sheets, and then roll them out and stick the two ends together. Here in Nelson, Bucky from Iran and Dayanara from El Salvador have found that their traditional dishes, like their cultures, complement each other perfectly.
My name is Baki. Actually, my real name is Baqaullah. I'm from Azerbaijan, northwest of Iran, the border of Turkey and Russia, and touches the corner of Iraq as well. It's a border with 3 countries. I came to New Zealand in 1987, November 87, as a refugee. The persecution of Iranian Baha'is in Iran prompted me to leave the country because I couldn't own a house, I couldn't get married, I couldn't own a own business. I'm the only son in the family, and my mother was reluctant to let me go. And finally, she realized there is no hope. And we arranged the smuggler, we paid the money, and one day we left, middle of the night, the snow up to head high. It took me 5 days to reach Istanbul. It was very difficult. At some stage, I was so thirsty, so tired, exhausted from cold, and once I was in a state I was just about to fall asleep. And the man said, if you fall asleep here, your body goes in a coffin. You freeze to death. Any consolation? You see those lights on the left-hand side? There's Turkish border lights. And on the right-hand side, the Iranian border. You're standing on the border. You see the pole with the number on it? That's the border pole. You step on this side, you're a free man. So that gave me courage to keep walking. When I came to New Zealand, after 5-6 years, I went to Israel as a volunteer to work in Baha'i World Center, where I met Dayanira. She's from El Salvador, and we got married. And we've been married for 16 years and came to Nelson to live. And I have 2 girls, and both go to college. Hello, how are you? The food we make from Iran is totally different from Salvadorian dishes that they make. But because our food is so different, when you make it, that means you have 2 different varieties, 2 different flavors altogether. There's no commonality, but makes a very good complementary food on the dining table. I'm making kufta Tabrizi, authentic and traditional and most popular and well-known for Tabriz region. It's a giant meatballs. I've got about 600-700 grams of mince, mostly made from beef. You can make it with lamb and some people even use camel meat. Beautiful.
We share the cooking, you know, especially when we have special occasions. We always cook together. And like today, my daughter was saying, Mommy, we're gonna have a big feed today because you're making all this, which is, they love it, you know. This is called pupusas. Pupusas is the traditional dish in El Salvador. It's made out of corn. like this, and cheese. We eat this could be eaten every day. This is like the fish and chips here in New Zealand that people, when they don't want to cook, they just go and buy them.
Every time I cook, it reminds me of, I hear the noise of a beating the mortar my mum used to make. I remember the smell of chives that my mum used to chop. I used to sneak in and eat some of the split peas, yellow split peas that my mum cooked. Don't touch it. And all these things comes back to me.
I used to have to make them in a hot skillet only, but yeah. Now here I can make about 8 at the same time. Things that they would like to stuff them with.
Because people in New Zealand, we don't have time for anything. Everything is rush, 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 rush. The food has to be made within 15, 20 minutes. In Iran, cooking meals is like a family occasion. People get together, help each other. They cook almost half day for lunch. They put a lot of passion, a lot of love, a lot of time in it. So that's why cooking and eating is one of the most important part of the Iranian family.
I love Iranian food, and our children as well. They love, yeah, we do. Always we're trying new things, or, I always say to him, we've never tried that before, or, we never cooked that before for us.
Having a wife from El Salvador and being in a third country makes the playing field even. So it's not influenced by her culture, it's not influenced by my culture. We have a very even kill. We share everything together. Our children are very multicultural, and they understand the difference of being different. I believe in a way, they're lucky to have parents from 2 different cultures.
Most of us live in Nelson because of family, community, and the sheer beauty of the place. And I like to think those same reasons were the reasons why our children and our grandchildren choose to live here. If Nelson is going to provide a warm welcome to people from all over the world, we need to actually understand and accept that cultural diversity is okay. And looking around Nelson today, I can see that we're well on our way. Nelson's a fantastic city, a great multicultural society, and it's a city that I'm really proud to call home.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.